Good morning, students. Today we're going to work on a lesson that's kind of going back a little bit to collage. It involves some collaging elements, and it also involves some drawing elements. And what we're going to end up making is some adorable little cats and dogs, or you can just do all cats or all dogs. But there's a few things you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need is some paper. Now, I want to talk about a few different options for paper. Pretty much anyone can find a grocery flyer. Pretty much everyone gets these, so that's one thing you can use is an old grocery flyer. Maybe your parents have some wrapping paper that they would let you use. Your parents or your guardians or whoever you're home with today, maybe they have some wrapping paper or some scrapbook paper. Here's an old piece of a painting that my daughter didn't want anymore, so she let me borrow that, have that. Sticky notes. Sticky notes are great, you know. They're actually already in a shape too, so that can be very useful. Also, maybe an old flyer from something, okay? So that's thing one is colorful paper. If you can't get more fancy stuff, just go get a magazine, an old magazine or an old grocery flyer, all right? The next thing you're going to need is a pair of scissors. If you don't have a pair of scissors, you can tear the paper, but if you do have a pair of scissors, that's preferable. A glue stick or a glue bottle or some tape. Now, if you don't have a glue stick or tape, just like I showed you during collaging, you can just place down the stuff where you want it and draw around it, but it would be nice to have glue or glue stick or tape to affix your collage paper to your other paper. You can get a marker, a pencil, or a pen, or anything you can draw with. It doesn't matter. I'm working with black marker. Now, if you're working with marker and it's permanent, make sure that that's okay with whoever you're home with. Also, always put some blotter paper down if you're going to work with marker. Okay, so now that we've gotten into our tools, let's talk about the elements of art we're going to use today. One element of art we're going to use today is line. We're going to use various lines. We're going to use some curved lines and some straight lines to help us draw our dog and our cat faces. We are also going to cut our papers into different geometric shapes. Remember, geometric shapes have names, and they're shapes we know. So if a shape has a name, it's a geometric shape. Just like we learned 2 weeks ago, organic shapes do not have names, and they have unusual edges. And sometimes they look like puzzle pieces. So that's the difference between geometric and organic, okay? So first thing, I forgot one more thing you're going to need too. Get out a piece of copy paper or line paper or whatever you have. If you want to, you can start by writing your name on your art. When we're at school, we always begin every project by writing our name on our art, okay? So our first thing we're going to do is figure out how we're going to cut our paper out. And there's a bunch of ways you can do this. You could simply do something very easy and make rectangles and squares. You know, rectangles and squares are made with straight lines. In fact, one kind of cool thing, if you're going to use sticky notes, if you don't have glue around, you can stick those down wherever you want them to be. So one of my little characters might be here. Maybe I'm going to have another character here. Now, I do want to tell you something really important about this lesson. As you're sticking down your different geometric shapes, make sure you have space at the top, space at the bottom, and on the left and the right. We need to make sure that there's space all the way around your shape because you need enough room for the head, the ears, the arms, and the legs, or I should say the front paws, the back paws, and tails if you choose to give your animal a tail. So make sure there's space around them. Now, you could freeform cut something. If you're pretty good at cutting, you could just cut a shape out. Oh, I'm going to cut a circle out of this wrapping paper, okay? So that's something that you can do. If you're good at cutting without drawing a line, that's one way to get you to where you need to be. Now, if you have no tape or anything at your house, you can just place your paper down and draw next to it your faces and shapes. But if you have glue or glue stick, that's really useful. So I just cut this circle out. Actually, it's kind of a little bit more like an oval out of the wrapping paper. Okay, moving on to other shapes. Another way to cut out a shape is draw something on the back of your paper and then cut it out. I've already talked to you guys a little bit about how to draw a heart. A heart's really easy. It's just a capital V at the bottom. And after I've got my capital V, I do a dot halfway through. And I do two curves that are exactly the same. By the way, if this lesson is going a little fast for you, you can just slow it down or pause it. Okay, so now I've got this heart cut out of one of my daughter's old paintings. So, I can place this down two ways. I could place it like this, or I could even place it upside down, whatever you want to do. Okay? So, just going to glue on the back here and stick it down. And then move on to something else. I think maybe on this one, I'm going to draw a diamond. A diamond's pretty easy to do. Actually, taking the concept of my heart, I'm going to do a capital V at the bottom, and then I'm just going to draw a capital V going the opposite way. Okay? And then I'll cut that out. And then when I place this shape down, remember, I'm making sure there's space at the top, space at the bottom, and space to the left and the right. By the way, when you start to come up with your drawing on your art, your drawing of your little characters, use your creativity. Your characters don't have to be exactly like mine. I'm just kind of giving you some ideas, but you can take it in your own direction. All right, so this is looking pretty good. I got 5 shapes down, so let's learn how to draw a cat. Pretty easy, right? So I'm going to uncap my marker, and one thing I always tell the kids at school is put the lid on the back so you don't lose it. You don't want our marker to dry out. Remember, you can draw with pencil or whatever. So I'm just at the top of this little shape. I'm going to do a little curved line for the head. Then I'm going to draw 2 triangles attached to that. So here's my first triangle, and here's my second triangle. Oh, this cat looks like it has very big ears. If you'd like to, you can contour, go inside that line a little bit, just a little bit smaller. Now, for the eyes, you could draw ovals for the eyes, but the kind of shape I like to draw for cat's eyes, and it might be too hard for you to do this, but if you can do this, it's a curve up, a curve down, because cats have kind of pointed eyes on eye. Well, actually, they do have more. Now that I think about it, they are more like ovals, but the way I'm going to draw my cat eye is kind of like a lemon or a football shape. So here I go. I'm going to draw it like this. I got my two eyes. Now, if you've ever looked at a cat up close, a cat has eyes with a line that goes down the center. So I'm going to add that on now. Actually, maybe I'll get a little bit closer. That might help you guys. Sorry about that. Oh, there we go. Let me refocus that too. Oh, that's better. Okay. Get a little bit closer here. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the nose. And generally, a cat, if you want to draw like a simple cat nose, it's just an upside down triangle. So go ahead and do that next. From there, I'm going to do two curves in either direction. Our cat's face is symmetrical. That means it's the same on both sides. Now, I'm going to add some whiskers. Okay? Add a few little whiskers to your cat. Oh, that's a cute little cat. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if you guys have ever read that book, Pete the Cat, but all of a sudden I was thinking about Pete the Cat, and I'm like, oh, this cat looks a little bit like Pete the Cat. So the arms of our cat are pretty easy. They're just curved lines going out, kind of just like a U-shaped line. So I'm going to draw some U-shaped lines, and you know what? I can put them in any direction that I want, and I'm also going to add some for the back paws. Now, if you want to, you can give your cat little claws or little paws. I might get into that a little later, but I'm also going to give now I'm realizing I need to kind of scoot out a little bit, I think. Let me move out just a little bit here so you can get a better view of it. And refocus. Okay, so, what about using a wavy line to give my cat a tail? Okay, so that's a cat, and I could do another cat over here if I want to. And let me just do it one more time to let you get the hang of it. So I can draw either a circle or kind of like a U shape like this. Oh, this is a cute little chubby cat. I guess this is Pete's friend, right? So now I'm going to do two triangles for ears and putting the triangles on the inside. And remember, guys, your cat might not look like mine. In fact, your cat might look a little bit different. So here's my cat. This cat looks a little, I don't know, we'll see how he turns out. So I got my upside down triangle and two curves around. He looks kind of happy. And I'm going to add straight lines for whiskers. Okay? Now, you notice how on this one I have the two arms up and the legs down. Maybe on this one, I want one arm up and one arm down. Or one front paw up and one front arm down. And maybe I'm going to have my two legs going down here. And maybe this one's tail is kind of curving slightly differently. The fun about this lesson is you can add other additional things with your marker. Maybe you want them to play with a ball of yarn. Maybe these little cats are getting into trouble. I was kind of wondering what some little claws out might look like. Uh-oh, this cat's starting to look a little frisky. Maybe he's kind of getting into some stuff, So maybe you want to do some claws out. Maybe you want to do some paws with little lines to make the paws. It's really up to you. Now on this one, it'd be kind of fun. Cats love to play with yarn. So if I did a ball like this, and remember, you don't have to have yours like mine, but if I did my little ball of yarn and had a piece of it winding out like this, maybe this cat is getting tangled up in the yarn, that could be something that's going on in my scene. I don't know. So it's all about using your creativity. You can even have some humans in your scene if you want to. Okay, so now I'm moving on to a dog. Now that we've done our cats. Okay, so here's some dogs. Here's a little dog. Here's a little dog with a little spot over its eyes. Here's a little dog with two kind of like curved ears down. So we're starting with the same concept. I'm going to do a little head. Now, you can do your ears a lot of different ways. I think on this one, I'm going to do 2 ovals down. Now, if you want your dog to look a little bit more cartoony, you could do 2 little V's pointing toward each other, kind of like your dog is laughing, or, you know, just like your simple black spots. I am going to, on this one, keep it kind of simple the first time. I'm going to do 2 little circles or ovals for the eyes. Now, for our dog's nose, I'm going to do a slightly larger oval on its side. And then I'm just going to do the 2 curves down again. And on this one, I might have an arm going up. And I guess I'll have 2 arms going up and then 2 legs going down. And you know, you don't have to add tail if you don't want to, but if you want to, you can. It's up to you. Maybe these are a family of dogs. I don't know. Okay. So here I'm going on to my next dog, and I could do one of the same, but this time I think I want to do one that looks like this. I'm going to do a curved line around. And this time, I'm going to have the ears going up because I think it'll make this next dog look kind of lively. So I'm going to do a curve up and then a curve down. And then I'm going to make it do a U-turn and go back to the place that it started from. Okay? So I'm doing a U-turn or a curve up, diagonal down, have it do a U-turn, and I'm kind of making a parallel line going back to where it started. So now I'm going to color in my little dog's ears. Okay? And for this little dog, I think I'm going to do 2 little dots and a circle for the face. And I'm going to do a little oval inside and then a vertical line down. Cool. Let's go in and add some arms. 2 U's for the arms and 2 U's down. What a cute little dog. Maybe you could give your dog a hat. Maybe you could draw some clothes on your dog. Maybe you could give your dog a bow. There's tons of things you can do. Okay? So over here, I guess, well, there's something you really need to think about. When I was working with my yarn earlier, the yarn kind of went into the space of where I was going to put the head. You need to think about that as you're drawing, okay? So I guess on this one, I guess we'll just do, maybe I'll do a little overlapping. So here I have my circle. And on this one, I want to do some, let's see if I'm going to do another cat or another dog. Suppose what I'll do is do kind of a, maybe a rectangle-ish trapezoidal shape down for the ears of this dog. And this dog is going to have 2 little eyes going together, an oval nose, and its mouth. So it's kind of like laughing or being silly. So those are just 2 V shapes in. And I'm going to give my dog some little arms and some little legs, okay? So that's it, folks. That's the whole thing with this little lesson that's about collaging and line, okay? Let me see if I can refocus this again. And that's what we got going on today. Please remember to send me a photo of your art. Please email me a photo of your art. I hope you enjoy this. Use your own creativity. You can add whatever you want to your scene. You could give them clothes and shoes and all sorts of things like a human. You could add a whole family together. That's one nice thing about this project is it's almost as if you could make a whole family of characters using your lines and your shapes and your collaging techniques. Anyways, I hope you have a good time drawing. Have a wonderful day. Bye.